out, James. I just figured I'd go live for a pinch. I'm doing some building. As we know, Drukari is coming, so I've got Succubus, I've got some witches to build, and right now you're propped up against the old combat patrol that's got the Raider, Ravager, 5 Incubi, 10 Cabalite, and the 1 Archon. I will build it shortly after, but I thought it might be kind of fun to just go live. I was actually going to do this on Instagram. Turns out you need 1,000 followers on Instagram in order to go live. So in the event that you ever want to see that in the future, and you haven't checked out my Instagram, the link for that should be in the description. So I'm just going to build here. Anything comes up and you want to ask me any questions, go for it. If this ends up being a period of long silence, totally fine as well. Thought I'd try it. So I'm just going to get started here. And all this. These blister packs always did drive me nuts when you're trying to get at it, especially because it's, in this case, it's Drukari / elves, and elves are always like a finicky piece to do. Try and get these guys out. Oh, I suppose I should. Let me see if I can adjust. Nope. Okay. Never mind. I thought I could change that. Probably should have put on there AMA. Oh well. Just trying this out for giggles anyway. Oh boy. Only other thing I'm kind of worried about with the new Drukari stuff is if the base sizes have changed. I don't think so. But you know, when your base is that big, it's kind of hard not to believe. I don't know. Maybe I've just been playing Space Marines and other Space Marine related things for entirely too long. So these old instructions for blisters also make me laugh because it's just like, oh yeah, just clip out all the pieces. Like it's not step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's just like, yeah, just go. It's fine. Let's see. And at some point I gotta upgrade my clippers. That is a very real thing. Ironically, I know people have given the GW clippers a lot of grief for being bad. I've actually had no problem with them. I do at some point want to get some God Hand clippers because that would be fantastic. And I hear nothing but good things. Howdy, howdy. Thanks for hopping in. I'm just trying this go live shenanigans just to see how it is, because I was going to do it originally on Instagram, but Instagram has a 1K minimum, which I did not know until I realized it. So I digress. We don't got 1K. For those who just jumped in, this is an AMA, so if you want to ask me anything, go nuts. I will be sitting here and building for a hot second. I got this succubus, I've got a couple witches that I'm building, and then I'll probably have to dip when I get to the old Drukari Combat Patrol, because that's going to be a bit extensive. What the F is this? Oh, just a random knife bit, as is tradition with the Drukari. So just going to clip all of these out and see how we get along. A little sad that we didn't see many new kits for the Drukari, admittedly. I would have liked to have seen a few more things, but also I know we're on the back half. Well, we're pretty far into the back half. We're on the last year of 10th edition, I want to say. So we should be getting pretty close to new rules, new refresh, and there's always a chance that they do something where it's, you know, the later releases get the first releases and come back around, and then, you know, they get more models then or something like that. I would hope, but who knows? Secrets abound. So just clip all this crud out, and actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go boop. There we go. Just gonna turn on all the all the messages. Just one random, very tiny shoulder piece. Interesting. And of course, what's Drukari without some really long, flowy hair? How else of them? Alright. Sprue clipped. Time to clean. Which, admittedly, I am not the greatest. I'm not the greatest modeling cleaner. I will admit it. 90% of the time, I do the best I can with what I can see, and then I'm like, yeah, that should be good, right? That's totally fine. And then I find a mold line immediately after. And it's like, oops. Oh, hi Angie, welcome. Thanks for hopping in. New to the channel, new to Warhammer. What you got? Like I had mentioned before, this is an AMA, so if you want to ask me any questions, go nuts. Want to talk Age of Sigmar, anything like that. We can go from there. I have no idea. That just came across as very large blocks. I have no idea what that is. You ever go fishing? I have gone fishing. I used to fish a pretty fair amount when I was a kid with my uncle and my dad. I personally am I'm not a huge fan of fishing. I think I get too bored too quickly. But I have gone fishing. I have caught many a fish, and yeah, should probably should find. Well, now I more golf. I do some golfing here and there, so that's the big one. Yeah, but good question. Good question. Any hunting? No, so that's an interesting one. I always wanted to go hunting because my dad and actually both my sisters used to go hunting, and I did the firearm safety course, got the license and everything. And then the one time that I was supposed to go with, my dad decided to not wake me up because they were obviously in our case, we're from Minnesota, so the main hunting area that we go to is near Nebraska, something like that. But they decided they didn't wake me up for it. I don't know if I doubt that they quote unquote forgot. I assume that it was very intentional. So the one time I was supposed to go hunting, I did not, but I did do the firearm safety courses and all that stuff. So I have so no hunting in that case, but I'm pretty sure it would have just been turkeys. My dad usually did turkey hunting more than anything else. Nothing other than that though. What else we got? Fire them off. Let's go. They can be hobby related. They can be non-hobby related. I am open. While I clean up all the little clip marks here on the succubus. This is also kind of nice. So anyone who's hopped in, even for just a little bit, I appreciate it. This is really cool. I am hoping to do more of this in the future. I don't know if it'll be through YouTube or if at some point I do actually have a Twitch. I have a Twitch account. I should say that. That's saying I have a Twitch does not sound accurate. I do have a Twitch account, and so I do plan on trying to get that set up. I'm just trying to find the right angle for that, and in which case I'd live stream more of this stuff, have more conversations, more builds, stuff like that. What are you building? Hey, Chris, thanks for asking. So right now I am building a succubus, Drukari succubus, and then I also have a box of witches here, and then right now you all are propped up on the old Drukari box, the hands down probably the best combat patrol that was ever released, where it's the Ravager, the Raider, 5 Incubi, 10 Cabalites, and the Archon. So I think I ended up buying, I think I got a Ravager and a Raider from a buddy, and then I had another one of these boxes, and I started it. I have them built, and I actually have some of them painted. But with the new Drukari stuff coming, I've always been interested in Drukari. I think they're one of the cooler 40k factions, personally. Um, I wish they got a little bit more, but I'll take what we can get. And we're near the end of the edition, so there's a chance that there'll be like a wave 2 somewhere in there. But yeah, so I'm just building some murder elves. Actually, low key, probably one of my favorite appearances of them is I love that they show up in the Rogue Trader video game. They were one of the main antagonists in there, and it was super cool to see them rendered out and like have really cool like Drakari dialogue. You got to go to Kimura, which was super super cool. Absolutely loved that. So that was one of my favorite parts of the game. And some people were like apparently complained about getting trapped in Kimura, and I was like, no, this is hands down the coolest part about this game is getting trapped there. All right, let's see what we got. All right, Hogslayer, aliens or Predator? Great question. I gotta go Predator. I love the Predator movies. They are my favorite. I between those two, um, my favorite Predator movie is oh, it might be the new Prey. Prey, I think, might be my current favorite Predator movie. I do love the original Predator, and I absolutely love Predator 2. And I played the crap out of the Predator Concrete Jungle game. I loved that game. Played a ton of that. I will say Aliens, I think, gets a little bit more love. I understand why, the horror element of it, and I think they've done some really cool stuff with it, which is awesome. But for me, Predator. Predator all the way. I'm a huge fan of the Yautja. And I'm excited for the new Badlands. I think that looks pretty cool. I remember they said there was a rumor that it was going to be World War One, and I was super stoked on that. I think that's still a rumor that one of the later Predator movies might, like one of the next Predator movies might be set in World War One. And if that's true, I think that'd be such a cool aesthetic, like just maneuvering between all the trenches and stuff like that, and like just predator hunting throughout that. I think that would be super super sick. And I did watch the new animated Predator movie. Was it Killer of Killers? And that was super good. I was very happy with how that turned out. The animation was great. The stories were great. Worked out fantastic. Um, Aliens or TV show is good so far. I have heard nothing but really good things about that, so I have no doubt in my mind that I will absolutely hop onto that because same thing. I hear that it's absolutely incredible, and Timothy Olyphant's in there, which is always it's just always a win. I like Timothy. Not the greatest Agent 47, but there's a little deep cut there. But honestly, I think he was great, and I would love to see him. Killer of Killers had a lot of Easter. It absolutely did, and they were all really good Easter eggs. It made it very very fun. So I would love to see more of that. More of that is 100% warranted and needed. So hopefully we get more of that. I think we will. I think what's his name, Dan Trachtenberg. I think he's kind of gotten a hand on like all the Predator stuff, and I'm totally on board for his vision of stuff because I think he's done such an incredible job with all the Predator stuff. So here's hoping. Fingers crossed. What is this thing? Oh, probably goes on. Oh, goes on the leg. There's always these. Oh, almost lost it. That could have been bad. There's always like these weird tiny little pieces that always come through, and it's insane sometimes when they're just like, yeah, just attach this really really tiny thing. Otherwise, what is everyone else up to today on this? Well, in my case, it's a very hot Sunday afternoon, hence why I'm indoors. So pass on being outside at least today. Just a little too toasty for me. What state? I am in Minnesota. Minnesota boy, and right now I think it's like 86 or something out. I could be wrong, but all I know is I stepped outside and I got slapped with heat, and I was like, that's okay. Chris, I am painting my Asmodee. Yes, the Asmodee model is such a cool model. I thoroughly loved painting him. When all the Dark Angel stuff came out, I was a pretty happy camper. Like at that point, I didn't even care if the rules were a little rough for like Belial. Didn't have like a ton of stuff to go along with him or anything like that or anything too crazy. But I didn't care. He looks cool. I'll still probably end up playing him at some point just because he's really cool. Same thing with Asmodai. Asmodai is so cool, and he's a very. I did read. What was the one? I did read Angels of Darkness, not terribly, or not terribly long ago, and I absolutely loved that book. Uh, I'm in Florida. I am melting. Yeah, no, see, I can't blame you there. That's yeah. So that's I would not survive Florida. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I've been. The humidity alone would just absolutely obliterate me. For sure. How's this guy? There we go. There we go. Just leave that. There we go. Just clean up a few more things. A few more spots. Yeah, I would not survive in Florida. For sure. Just going to use this little sanding stick. Use a couple different things. I usually use these little guys, and I use this guy for a couple of the tips. What is my line of work? So when I am not being a giant nerd on YouTube, well, I would say on YouTube specifically, I'm a giant nerd. Period. I do project coordinating. I work on projects for an IT company, so that is what I do in the interim. Oh, that goes in the back there. I was wondering where this went. Let's just get that there before I completely and utterly forget. Oop. Finicky elf bits. There we go. There we go. Gonna let that sit for a little bit of a hot second, and then I gotta figure out. Oh, thank goodness. The hair has a happy little slot back there. Thank goodness. The real question is, what angle does this work? Or what angle does it go in? Does it go in that way? Upside down. Oh, I probably have it upside down, don't I? Yep, I had it upside down. 11 out of 10. So I'm just going to quick switch to the extra thin cement, because that was something that that kind of close there. That's going to be a little too much. Or we switch back to screw glue. Yep, we'll just switch back to screw glue. That's fine. Just hop back here. Oh, wait, no, that's probably not supposed to go like that. That's probably why. There we are. Okay, just set it aside. Once I get something like perfectly glued in place, you set it aside. You set it aside. All right, let's see what we got. Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Trek. Star Wars for me personally. I can appreciate Star Trek, but for me, I grew up on Star Wars. That's the one I love personally, and I kind of enjoy the. I think it's Adam Savage that said Star Wars is a dystopia, Star Trek is a utopia, and I always appreciated kind of the dystopian side of Star Wars a bit more. Yeah, so I think that's the one that always stuck for me. I always enjoyed like the Jedi and Sith stuff, but as I've gotten older, I've actually been appreciating a lot of the non-Jedi based stuff that they've been doing, and I hope they continue to do so because it's been really cool to see. And obviously, if for some reason you haven't seen it, the Andor is a show that had no business being as good as it is, in my opinion. Because I liked Rogue One, but I honestly didn't think Cassian Andor was like the greatest character. Um, but that show paid off in spades for it. So absolutely worth it. So for some reason, if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. But yeah, for me, Star Wars. Star Wars over Star Trek, in my opinion. I will say though, I did love the J.J. Abrams um, Star Trek films though. I actually thought he did a really good job, kind of handling the whole, um, you know, you still have the original storylines; those still happen, those still are like valid, and he did a good job kind of rewriting those a little bit. So then that way you could kind of remember everything that already happened from like the shows and the past movies, and still have that. So I think that's actually pretty cool that he managed to do that. And the agonizer. This is also why we use sprue goo. In case something's not flush enough, you just add more. Add more and more and more until eventually it stays. There we go. And just hold. There we go. All right. She's almost done. She's almost built. And then we'll move on to some of the witches. Which, too many witches. Kind of excited. I'm excited to keep going with the Drakari stuff, but I'm more interested in the Cabalite and the Homunculus stuff. So it'll be interesting to do more of that in the Incubi. Super stoked on the Incubi. Jason or Michael Myers? Also a very good question. I gotta give it to Jason. I don't know. Maybe it's just like being 34 years old. I always thought Jason was creepier. I mean, Michael Myers is creepy for sure, and Halloween's had I think a much more storied history than Friday the 13th. But yeah, I'd probably have to say Jason. Jason's cooler, and they also had that Jason versus Freddy movie. The funny part is I remember the movie. I don't remember how it ends, but I remember the soundtrack because when that soundtrack came out, it was all like the bands that I was listening to. I think it had like Breaking Benjamin, or I just remember being like hard rock kind of stuff that I was like absolutely listening to at the time. Okay, she's got this last little piece. You know what we're gonna do for this last little piece, because it's this tiny itty bitty thing and it's got to go on the waist. Get the tweezers. I don't have hobby tweezers, unfortunately, but you make do with what you have. And I want to say that's going to go like that. So, elf bits. So many elf bits. Just glob that on. Well, flip back. Bring it back around now. There you go. Okay. This is always the really hard part. Is like getting it to stick, and then also just getting it to like stay in place after. It's always crazy. A little bit like that. There we go. All right. Voila. One succubus built. We'll give her side pad a little second to dry there. Glue her on the base, and we'll call her good. There. One model down. Buttload more to go, but we'll see. Any other questions? Let's hear them. I'm liking this. Hogslayer, appreciate you throwing them in. And of course, appreciate anybody hopping in. It's cool to see. I've never done one of these live ones, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to do one. Again, was planning on doing it on Instagram, but you got the apparently got to have 1,000. So if for some reason you aren't following my Instagram, you do have an Instagram. Should be linked down below. Just search Tattooed Tabletop. It's the same one. Same one. So. give her a second longer. Let's cut these suckers open. I know, Chris. I know you're working on Asmodee. What else are other people working on? Working on any Warhammer stuff? Working on other stuff? House projects? Anything? What you got going on? See if I can get this stupid thing open. There we go. Yeah. Be gone. Yeah, some of these models, I think they still look okay. I know people have been talking about Drukhari needing a full rework or anything like that, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think they need a full rework. Roll them out. Little tracker there. Right away. All right. She should be good now. Let's go ahead, just with really shaky caffeine hands, apply some glue there, and plop her down. Her blade dip's really low. Good Lord. All right. Give her a second to dry, but there she... That's about right. I deserve that. I absolutely deserve that. I was like, nailed it. Nope, did not. Absolutely did not. There we go. Oh, gotta rotate this back. All right. Apparently, we need to hold the part down, the date down longer. Oh, there we go. Shimmy. What are your thoughts on Kill Team Tomb World? I think it's really cool. It looks really cool. I had somebody at my friend the local game store kind of explain. It's pretty much like Gallowdark, but with like the Necron flavor to it. I'm completely on board for that. I got a buddy who plays Deathwatch. Those models look incredible, and Deathwatch really is like a perfect fit for Kill Team, especially. So yeah, that's super cool. Obviously, like the new Catan that's come out for that is like super cool as well. I really need to look into Kill Team again because I think I really liked it, and I just did a video discussing the different Warhammer games right now, and Kill Team has shifted aggressively from what it originally started with, which is what I originally started with, was about the original first edition Kill Team, but it seems really fun, and I hear a lot of really good things. Just me personally. All right, so now she's stuck. She's in place, and hopefully she does not move again. Please don't fall, lady something. You ever play regular Nintendo or Super Nintendo? We do have a Super Nintendo. We have the Super Nintendo HD or whatever it is, and that's more for the wife because she, like, here's the thing. Bless her soul. I love it. If you give her two joysticks, she can't do it. It's too much. Like, she can't figure that out. Does not work. But you put her in Super Mario, and she's a savant. It's kind of creepy. Like, because she remembers that from her when she was a kid, and so she plays that, and she plays that really well. I picked it up just for the non-Imperial terrain. Yeah, 100%. There was a really cool Drukhari terrain set that was released released with Eons of Battle. I had a buddy print it off for me. I still need to build it, and admittedly, I'm really bad at building them. I am terrible at building them because they are resin or the print whatever, and so there's just like a ton of them. I can't do it. I'm really bad at it, and so at some point, there's a chance that I might just pay somebody to do it because I'm too lazy. I'm far too lazy. Nintendo 64. Oh, absolutely. Well, not anymore. I don't have it anymore, but I did. I would consider the Nintendo 64 to be my OG system. I had a Sega Genesis when I was a kid, but I don't remember nearly as much from my Sega Genesis. I remember playing Batman Forever and never getting past the first level ever because didn't explain anything to you. I don't know a single person who got past level 1, whoever played that game. Um, so I played that, but N64 was the absolute system that I disappeared into, for sure. And I played Donkey Kong 64 endlessly, endlessly. Game Boy. I never owned a Game Boy. I know that was the popular thing. I knew a ton of people who had them. I think I mostly played those games through other people who I want to say let me borrow their Game Boy to like play Pokemon and stuff like that. Um, those were the big ones, but yeah. 007. Absolutely played a ton of 007. Hell, I played a lot of 007 in college because that was like one of the people on our floor had their N64, and so they had regular like N64 nights where we played old N64 games, and specifically we played a lot of 007. Wasn't great at 007, if I'm being honest. I was much better at Mario Kart, and I eventually convinced them to let us play the multiplayer for Donkey Kong 64, and I schooled them because that was the main one. All right, let's take a look at this. I kind of remember the loadout for the. Oh, my goodness! Look at this! Look at this nonsense. So it's usually you just flip to the next page. No, fold out. My goodness! The Hecatrix. I feel like I'm supposed to start here and not the other way around. Gauntlets. Okay, so this seems decently straightforward. It looks like I can trim out all the heads, all the torsos. Okay, we'll start there. Crash Bandicoot PlayStation. Yeah. So I didn't have an OG PlayStation. I did get a PlayStation 2 when I got further along. But more specifically, yeah, I played on PlayStation 2. I mostly played Star Wars Battlefront. I played a lot of Star Wars Battlefront. Okay, so the real question is, these are not numbered, so we're just guessing. We're looking like that looks an awful lot like they're numbered on this sprue here, but they do not have anything else. Okay, so that looks right. I'm assuming this would be the other one. I feel like on some level this has got to be kind of reversible. Yeah, it does not have a single number on it. I remember when it was $100 PlayStation 1 when it came out. Yep. I think it's safe to say all of us gamers miss the cost of games. I will say, with games being $70, I'm okay with it as long as there's something substantial to it. A good example is I was actually okay paying $50 for Mafia: The Old Country. I played that. I had a lot of fun with that. I love the Mafia games, and I was like, this could be interesting. And so I did pick that one up, and I thought it was great. I absolutely loved it. Let's see, PlayStation or Xbox? For me, PlayStation. I think PlayStation has more of the games that I want to play. Good example, Ghost of Tsushima being an exclusive was absolutely one of my favorites. The Spider-Man games, oh my gosh, if I didn't get to play the Spider-Man games, I would actually probably be a little devastated. I thought Insomniac knocked it out of the park, and I know that there's still a rumor that there's going to be a PlayStation State of Play for Wolverine. Did I ever get to play the Dreamcast? I did not, or if I did, I don't remember it. There's a possibility that I might have played it at some point in my youth, but I do not remember. I do remember playing Crazy Taxi, but I don't know if that was on a Dreamcast or if that was just If that was just on, you know, an arcade game somewhere. All right, where is this thing? 60. Ah, there it is. 67. I wish it would tell me 67. It'd be a lot quicker, but I suppose I can see it, so they're just like, just do it. And then do I just pick a generic front portion? Is that what I do? Let's see here. I think so. I think I just pick a whatever front half I want. Question mark. Sure. Let's just go with this one. This one will be. This one should be fine, right? Until I place it, and then it's like, nope. You needed to pick a specific one. Oh, and this is the back half of the. What's this one again? The Hackatrix, the leader of the witches. Okay, pick a number, any number. Don't tell me what it is. Okay, okay. All right, I think I got it. Hold on, I'm doing math. Okay. Okay, it is doubled. Okay. All right, added 10. Okay, yep. So, okay, yep, I still got it. Sorry, trying not to lose track. I might need a pen for this. I'm losing track. Okay. I might actually have to get a pen. Holy crap. So let's see, because I think I kind of have the number. I'm not gonna lie. There's no guarantee. You're looking at your guys are coming from they're coming from my calculator. Why are you so hot? That's not true, Joseph. Don't lie to the other people. Don't lie. Your answer is 5 if you did the math right. I did not do the math right because I originally picked 28. So 28 and 28 is 56. And then 66 divided by 28. Did I miss something? I could be wrong. I'm not gonna lie to you. Another fun fact about me: I got a bachelor's degree in history with a minor in philosophy. Math was not my strong suit. Also, if anyone in here is an Age of Sigmar fan, likes talking all things Age of Sigmar, stuff like that, Mr. Tactic Shaman in there, he's got a Twitch. A Twitch account. I should stop just saying he's got a Twitch. He probably does have a Twitch, actually. He also live streams some AOS stuff. So that's something you're interested in. Yeah, sorry, Hawk. I'm bad at math. Sometimes I can add the dice in Warhammer, and sometimes I can't. But divided by 2. Okay. Okay, because then 30. Yeah, okay, then yeah, divided by 3 or divided by 2 would be 33. Yeah. Oh, no worries, no worries, no worries. My voice to text message. You ever tried voice searching Drukari? You end up getting Drew Carey. That's literally what it ends up populating 90% of the time. Drives me nuts. My Twitch is giving people spawn in combat with their things. Oh, that. Oh, you're talking about. Okay, I think I get where you're coming from there now, Mister Tactic Shaman. Yes, and you spawning in my combat has been the bane of my existence and will continue to be the bane of my existence until I literally expire. Literally until I flatline. You just dropping a spawn in combat with my ranged units making me so sad. What head is this? Oh, it's an Urgul. Okay. I'm like cleaning this skull or head. I'm kidding. Now it's bats. Now it's bats. Are you playing Soulblight? Are you playing Soulblight right now, Joe? Don't lie to me. I saw you with Hedonites, which means you're playing with crabs. That also sounds wrong. I'm so bad at being a person. All right, there we go. That should be cleaned up. All right, what else we got? What other questions we got on the docket? Let me have it. Let's go. I've noticed that sometimes when I'm building and I'm really focused on something like this, I honestly sound like Tim the Toolman Taylor. I do the it's and I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Doctors tell me there's nothing we can do. Just a new permanent feature. There we go. Played. Oh, you did play the bats. That I wouldn't call those bats as much as bat demon adjacents. Okay, goes pick a number, any number. Don't tell me what it is. Double it, add 10, divide by 2. Now subtract that number from the first number you picked. Okay, gotcha. Oosh, king on dragon, bat. Yeah, I saw the picture, Joseph. You're the only person, A, who has enough Terrorgeist to actually do that. And then number 2, the only person, well, I was going to say you're the only person crazy enough to do it, but that's not true either. There's other crazy people. There's other crazy people that will do that, and they will feel no shame, no remorse over just absolutely deleting things with Terrorgeist, with the absolutely brutal Terrorgeist. Okay, so I need a blast pistol and a power weapon. Okay. I feel like this Hecatrix is taking longer without names. The rest of this, I think, should be pretty self-explanatory. At least, boy, I hope so. How'd the new delusions feel, Joe? I was curious about that because it is a nice mechanic. I think it's a good mechanic for Flesh Eater Courts. It's very thematic, works very well, but I was kind of curious because I feel like, at least knowing me, I would lose track in a heartbeat because I'd get distracted and then I'd lose my mind. It should be this one here. There we go. Trim that. Does she have? She does. She does have a very specific head, which is, of course, hair sold separately. Not sold separately, but assembled separately. Are these my two options for her hair? For her long, flowing hair? We'll just go with this one. I feel like this is straightforward enough. There. I only had 2 I could use. What do you mean you only had 2? Two Terrorgeists? I thought you had more than that. In fact, I'm very sure you had more than that. Where'd you lose them? And they are hard to keep track of for the rolling of the choice. Yeah, that was my only kind of qualm with it. Like I like the mechanic. I think it's very fitting for Flesh Eater Courts, but yeah, I feel like that bit of extra bookkeeping, you kind of just got to make sure you've got that. And then if you've got Usheron, you can plus or minus it by 1 or whatever. And I think it's add 1 to Delusion. Oh, that's right. I forgot you can do that, can't you? Yeah, that would get confusing really quickly, and I'd get lost. I'd get lost really quickly on that. That's fine. I put my Flesh Eater Quartz down for just for right now. Did I not trim off enough? Hello? Let's actually just get the sharper knife. Just trim off a bit more here so you can sit flush. Oh, only had 2 the delusions that worked for the army. Oh. Yeah, that sounds kind of annoying. If you only have the 2 that you can possibly do, then yeah, I feel like that's got to be somewhat annoying to just be like, well, I'm choosing between these 2 things, and if you got to change it, I suppose if you change it, then you at least know what you're changing it to, but it might just be like a, well, guess I'm using this now. Might be more of that kind of thing. Should probably attach this lady's hair. I mean, yeah, you have the bats. You have the damage. So that's true. Plenty there. Get her hair on there. Just let that sit. Yeah, right now I have a box for Hellsmith of a shoot sitting off to the side, but yeah, my turn. +2 charge, your turn -1 to run and charge for the opponent. Okay. Oh yeah, is that Ush's thing? The minusing. Clean up this blast pistol. We're gonna drill these later. We're gonna drill the barrels for all this later. I actually have a video that I'll probably be filming a little bit later here. I should probably actually film that soon before I lose all the light in the day. But I got another one. Another one coming, so. And it'll be a little product review. So, fun little sneak peek there. Curious to see how it goes. What other questions we got out and about there? That's close enough. Almost. Almost. Always getting between like spikes and stuff on here is always really annoying. There we go. I'm driving. Bye now. Bye, Tactic Shaman. Bye, Dro. Have fun storming the castle. Alright, let's get some here and here. Again, fun little AMA. Feel free to ask me anything. Let's tilt her head just like a little bit there. Pop them in. Now take a look. I think this one comes across her just like a little bit. It does. It does. I think I'm accidentally moving that. We're just going to set that down. Yeah, fun little AMA. Ask me anything. Could be Warhammer related, non-Warhammer related. Favorite movie, favorite color, favorite paint color. Anything you got there. This is for a little bit longer here. So, want to sneak them in? Sneak them in now. Let's just glue this bit. Oop, don't roll away on me. And let's get those feet. Get her on her base. There we go. Ta-da! I forgot that the witches are actually slot ends. Oh my gosh. Insane. They're still slot in. See if I can get... Also, if anybody already doesn't use it, sprue goo. Sprue goo is the way to live. In case you're wondering, it looks kind of like this. You can see that kind of consistency there. I keep mine a little bit more runny because I like to use it a little differently. But sprue goo is the way to live. Again, ask me anything. Or just let me know what you're working on. That would be awesome as well. As you can see, I am working on my Drukhari. Since the book is coming, I have yet to have fielded my Drukhari. But they've been a favorite faction of mine for a while. I just, in a world where everybody's the bad guy, it's kind of fun to have one that's definitively the bad guy. Like, no one's the good guy, but Drukhari are definitively the bad guys, and I thoroughly enjoy them. I still have yet to read the Lilith book, which I absolutely need to do. So there we go. I feel like this looks a little janky, but it'll work. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's actually see if we can adjust her arm up just like a little bit. There we go. Just give her a little bit more presence. There we go. And there we have a Hecatrix. So we got a Hecatrix all built, and we got the Succubus all built. Now on to the rest of the witches. That's when I think I can just start clipping madly, because as you can kind of see here, it's just back pieces, front pieces, the whole shebang. So I think that's what I can start doing, at least from what I can tell. Yeah, it's like pair all the legs together. I should probably do those legs first, actually, now that I'm looking at it, because... oh, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, so maybe this is easier than I thought. I was actually kind of worried about them being further away from each other, but they might be just compatible, which would be swell, and it would make my life easier. I don't know that I'm going to buy a ton more witches, if I'm being honest, for my Drukhari. Again, I'm more of a fan of the Kabbalite warriors and the Incubi and stuff like that. So I'm sure there'll be a good way to run all those, and not... I think I'll still have these 10 witches for Lilith, because I have Lilith Hesprax, and she is built. Is this 8 or is this 9? Oh well, we're just gonna We're just gonna clip away. It's fine. It's fine. They're right next to each other. These have got to be the right pieces, right? Obviously. Why would they mix them up at all? Set them over there. Those are all arms. We'll do all the bodies after we do all the feet. All the legs. All the pairings. Again, if you got any questions, let me hear them. Let's grab you. Depending on how far I get, I might have to just go film my next video. Right now, unfortunately, I don't want to say I'm behind on my videos, but I am definitely not ahead. Usually, I try and have weeks, or try and have videos out where, you know, I have 2 videos unlisted or, you know, in the wings, as it were, to try and get myself, you know, caught up on a week, depending on what that week looks like and stuff like that. But unfortunately, I started falling behind, and I'm still playing catch up. You know, we're actually just gonna take this, throw this back here because I'm an old man, so I need pillow support now. So at one point, I also herniated my L5 disc, and it was the worst. The fact that it just like resulted in just like a stupid amount of pain just to like tie my shoes was just the worst. It actually got to the point where I got injections for them. And at first I was worried because it didn't seem like it was actually working, and unfortunately it seemed to come back around, so that's good. In case you're curious about any semblance of my medical history. Yeah, what questions we got out there? One more set of legs here. There we go. Are these all splinter pistols? I think these are all splinter pistols. We'll probably do those one at a time. Ish. You like Motley Crue? They're older stuff. I can hang with somewhat. Vince McNeil is rough. He's in a rough spot. That being said, I can't remember when it came out. I do remember when their kind of like comeback album came out. I think it was like the Saints of Los Angeles. That's the name that's coming to mind. I remember listening to that when I was a kid, and I remember being like, "Oh, pleasantly surprised." Pleasantly surprised at that one. Probably gonna end up going back and listening to that again because I haven't heard that in literally forever. But for the most part, I listen to a lot of a lot heavier stuff. Well, I mean, I listen to a bit of everything, but for the most part, you know, ones that come straight to mind. My favorite band is Counterparts from Canada. I absolutely love that band. They've been my favorite and my top listens to ever since I pretty much found them. Knocked Loose, Kubla Khan. I've been on a Kubla Khan kick really hard lately because they released a song called Mountains of Corsiana or something like that, and it is heavy and is great. Tesla. I think I know which band. I think I know which band you're talking about, Hog, but I'm not 100% sure. So many feet. Iron Maiden. Yep, I did listen to some Iron Maiden. Always a classic. Run to the Hills. Always a bomb track. Tell you what, these spikes are going to be the bane of my existence. Korn. I do remember Korn. That was a new metal one that I actually did not get that far into, if I'm being honest. I remember Freak on a Leash and stuff like that, and I remember the vocalist was the voice for Lestat and his singing in Queen of the Damned. I do remember that. In place of Stuart Townsend. Townsend? I think that's his name. Can't remember. All the mold lines. I should probably move these a little bit more. Static X. I also remember Static X. Static X is still doing stuff, aren't they? Haven't heard them in forever, but I thought I remember seeing something somewhere that they were out and about and still doing stuff. Of that kind of variety, I listen to a lot more Linkin Park. 3 Days Grace. I listen to a lot of 3 Days Grace. Breaking Benjamin. Diary of Jane in Phobias is so good. Still bop today. Another one out of California, Smile Empty Soul, was another one of those that I listened to, and they had just the saddest bloody songs you could listen to, but I loved it. So I listened to a lot of them. Mudvayne, there's a name I haven't heard in literally forever. I remember Mudvayne. I definitely remember Mudvayne. I gotta dig up some of those tracks. Let's get the bottom of this foot a little bit better. There we go. Ah, starting to itch. Local H. I am not familiar with that one. Not gonna lie. Carve that. I think I accidentally just carved a piece that I'm not supposed to. Oopsie. Candlebox. Also not familiar with that one. I think the deepest cut I have. I remember listening to this band the first time, and it was a CD that I definitely took from my sister. Trust Company. Trust Company was one of those random ones. That's probably one of the deepest cuts that I have in my musical history. Alice in Chains, yep. Get to these last couple ones. Rob Zombie. Yep, I saw Rob Zombie live. I got to see him at a Halloween show with Ozzy. Quite a while ago. It was when Zach Wiley was still with Ozzy. That was a good show. My dad actually got into Rob Zombie because of that show. My dad's not like a heavy heavy music esque listener, but I did get him hooked on Linkin Park, and that show actually got him into Rob Zombie a little bit, just a smidge. So that was kind of funny. All right. 3 more sets to go of legs. Alright, and then I think once I get these legs assembled and slotted into their base, we'll probably call it a stream. Again, people, thanks for hopping in and talking while I've been building and stuff and asking the questions. Hog, appreciate it. And it was nice to meet you over here. And I hope you're surviving the Floridian summers. Oh, that's got to be a mold line. There's no way that's a mold line. There we go. And yeah, once I get these built. Once I get these built here, like I said, we'll call it. But yeah, we're getting close to the end. Last call on questions. Random AMA. Anything. Warhammer, nerd-based, movie-based, music-based. Give you show recommendations. Even though I'm not really even watching that many shows right now. Admittedly, not a ton on, or even streaming that I've been super stoked on. Well, we can clean that one up a little bit better. There we go. I think I've used this exact X-Acto knife from like the very beginning. Like 6+ years ago, I've used this exact same X-Acto knife. Insane. I actually did find out today, 6 years ago today was my very first RTT that I played in and it was specifically for Age of Sigmar. I ended up actually my first models were 40k, and I played the first edition of Kill Team. But yeah, 6 years ago today, I played my first 2,000 points of Seraphon, Age of Sigmar, 2nd edition, and I made a lot of friends actually at that RTT, which was super awesome because I lost every single game. Oh my gosh, I lost so many games. But everyone was absolutely lovely, and that was a great time. So actually kind of how I first got into the tournament scene was from that little experience there. And everyone was super kind, and it was fantastic. So absolutely worth it. But 6 years ago, kind of insane to think about. I think some of the plastic's getting into my beard. It's starting to itch. There we go. Just a few last bits. I'm actually debating whether or not I'm going to make this Drukhari army my main project. I've been working on some heresy in the background, and I'll still definitely be doing that here and there because it's good. It's a good thing to have a little palette cleanser army where, you know, you just have one that you just casually work on here from time to time. But I am starting to lean towards potentially playing some more 40k, so I got my Space Wolves and everything, like, good and ready to go, but I think it might be kind of fun to play something just, like, a little different. And the Drukhari, again, always been an admirer of their army, and I would love to get the opportunity to play more. Oh, thank goodness these have slots. There we go. Just need to make sure that they're nice and even. There we go. I'll just set these off to the side. Any other questions for me? AMA. Smooth those out. Probably doing just a wee too much sprue goo. Just a wee. What's for dinner? That is a great question. I wish I knew. Actually, wait, do I know? No, I don't. Oh no. I forgot my wife works later tonight. You know, gonna be honest. It's probably pizza rolls. There's a very good chance that it is pizza rolls. Cause unless I all of a sudden just feel motivated to cook all that up, it's probably gonna be pizza rolls. No question, just hang out while I tackle a horde of minis. Fantastic, Saul. What you working on? What you building? Building and or painting. Sorry, you could be tackling a horde of varying magnitudes. Oh, there we are. Smooth some of that out. There we go. GSE painting. Oof. All right, I feel for you. GSE is, I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Saul. I feel like GSE is kind of one of those armies that, like, you wouldn't really think is like a lot to do painting wise until you like really look at the miniatures and look at, you know, like some of the extra details they have and stuff like that. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I looked at GSE once or twice and I realized, like, looking at them, like, these have more detail than I anticipated, like, than I would have thought. Have a good rest of your day. Got to go. Hog, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for asking questions. Again, thanks for hopping in and asking the questions. And you also have a great rest of your day. And I hope you have a better dinner than my pizza rolls. All right, let's line these hips up. These Drukhari hips that can't lie. There we go. Definitely a horde army with lots of details similar to AdMac and Guard. Yeah, I found pork chops and mashed potatoes gravy. Much better, Hog. You enjoy that dinner for me, please. It's a delicious one. Yeah, with lots of details, similar to AdMech and Guard. I've noticed. So I've actually found a pretty quick way to do some of my guard. Depends on the guard though. I have like a few speedier techniques with Krieg, and I did do a speed check or a speed paint of Acadian Squad that wasn't actually too bad either. Like decent speed on that one too. Haven't attempted it yet, but um, yeah, guards got a lot of they can have a lot of details hidden in there. And yeah, I know for AdMech, like my buddy who's got AdMech, pretty much just I think he just spray painted all of it metallic or like painted it all metallic and then just picked out the individual bits with just like base painting and stuff like that. Cause yeah, I don't know if I'd survive an AdMech army if I'm gonna be honest. I think that would knock me out. I think my biggest horde army is my orcs, probably. But love my orcs. Orcs always, and actually I think orcs are actually kind of the most fun to paint because there's even for models that do have a little extra detail, doesn't ever feel that bad. All right, let's start. I play GSE, AdMech, and a building guard next. I hate myself. Well, if it makes you feel any better, let's see. All right, I'm gonna lose track, but here we go. So I obviously have Dark Angels. I have Space Wolves. I have Black Templars. I have Guard, Astra Militarum. I'm clearly working on my Drukhari. I have Orcs. I have Leagues of Votann. I have Chaos Space Marines. I have World Eaters, unbuilt World Eaters. I got a couple that are built, but I bought them pre-built. Um, and I've got I know I'm forgetting one like somewhere in there. I think those are the main ones that I have. So I have all those, and that's just 40K. AOS it's getting bigger all the time. So I feel you though. On your guard side, what do you prefer more? Do you like the Krieg stuff or are you more Acadian? Or both? Or Catachan for that matter, actually. I can't wait for Catachan to get new sculpts. Because Catachan are such a cool faction. I would love to see them get like a range refresh of some kind. That'd be super fun. I have a feeling that my fingers are just going to end up really sticky after this because I'm doing all the plastic glue. They got to go in the slots. Scoot all these up. Just a wee bit. Visual, I like Krieg because I like Steel Legion, of course. I'm going to paint them same as my GSC for reasons. Nope. I think I know those reasons. Those are pretty good. Those are pretty good reasons. I know a couple guys who are actually doing something like that with even like their Space Marines, where they are just choosing the same scheme across all of them, no matter what, so that they can just kind of like swap their vehicles back and forth between all the different ones and like to not feel bad about it. So I can understand those reasons. And of course, you know, like a fun GSE like guard is like I mean that's part of the lore, right? Like they've turned. It's worked. Ascension Day. They all just want a hug from the many armed god. Well, and Brood Brothers is a GSD guard too. That is true. That is very, very true. And that's actually really cool that they added that. I appreciated that they actually had something like that added into the game, because that made so much more sense to actually just have that existing. There you go. Go. Let's see. Go. There we go. Right, get closer. Even infiltrated AdMech. Oh, I actually did not know that. I would assume that they would. I assume that they would be like, wait a second, you're 40% flesh, not 30%. Heretic. But I suppose I could see that. GSE are very, very infiltratey. I actually really liked their presence and their use in the Angels of Death animated that they did. I thought they did a good job. I think, come to think of it, I think I've only played. Have I played GSC? I want to say I have played GSC, but I feel like I've only played them like once or twice. I think they're one of those armies that for sure, like some people have and they just don't play, or like I recently was on Maelstrom Wargaming, who is a fantastic Tyranid player. And I know he's got GSE, but I think he mains Tyranids more, so I think he just plays his Tyranids a bit more. Part of the GC is a brood mind which psychically brainwashes people. AdMech still have human brains. Well, the flesh is weak. The purple or the pink squishy flesh is weak. That makes sense then. I will say too, what was it? The animated short Ascension Day that they did for Hammer and Bolter, I actually thought was really good. Like, you think it's just, a woman with her baby like trying to escape, a cleansing of like one of the worlds, like a hive world, and then the very end when it like tips back and you see that the baby's actually like a GSC. That was awesome. I thought that was such a cool reveal, and I was like, oh, it was a perfect little plot twist to that. There we go. All right. We got legs. We have legs. Let's go ahead. We'll probably build out all the chest. We'll just quick do the chest and we'll quick do the heads. GSC is expensive because it's a horde army and has a high skill required, so it does. That's true. That's very true. That's one thing I've always appreciated about GSC is that it is a high skill army. It always makes it a bit more fun, in my opinion, to see that. And I think that's one of the reasons why you don't see a ton of Drukhari out and around either. I don't think it's necessarily a horde army, but when you have Skari, he's the one who's kind of carrying the torch for Drukhari right now, and I know a ton of people who are like, oh, Drukhari are so bad. And it's like, well, they're not bad. It's a high skill ceiling. Same thing with GSE. GSE, you've really got to have your stuff planned out. So I could absolutely see that. I remember my orcs started to get kind of expensive, but for the most part, I think I just got I got a hold of enough of them to do okay. Get all these back pieces out. There we go. Now for all the front. The one thing I do appreciate about a lot of these older kits is just how quickly you can kind of clip them all out, mix and match them. It's pretty easy. So never mad about that. Yeah, Drukari, AdMech, GSE, Guard all require live experience to play them well. Do it. Yeah, it discourages people quickly. That's true. I think a lot of people get really hyped, especially for Guard, which is understandable because, Guard are a really cool faction. You've got all the different flavors of Guard out there, and it does have like such a massive model range, which is also kind of makes it kind of fun. It means that you've always got something. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people get discouraged with Guard, and even for my own Guard, I still haven't finished, building them all and everything. So for the most part, I'm still working on trying to get those wrapped up, and it takes a lot. It takes an absolute metric ton of work to get Guard playable, just even on the hobby side of things. I think there's some hacks to like move a little quicker with them, but for the most part, like depending on what you're building, I think the thing that has actually slowed me down the most with my Guard is that I started after I built some of them, I decided I was going to magnetize some of the tanks so that I could, have the different options later and everything like that. But that has taken a while because the magnet sizes and stuff like that. Actually, you know what? Here, I have it right here. Oh, I had it sitting nearby, but yeah, I've got the Dorn. I did just glue in these front ones just because it was I didn't care enough. Honestly, it's close enough to Melter or Stubber. They look kind of similar, so I don't think I'll get that much grief about it. But especially these ones, getting those magnets and then having to like drill into there to get it just right. And I did leave the oppressor completely on there. I didn't magnetize the big gun because I do like this one, but otherwise, for the most part, I was just making sure that I was magnetizing the sponson weapons. So I did it for this one, and I did it for another Roldorn I've got, but and that one's painted, but yeah. Oh god, well that was good to stretch. Oh god. But yeah, right over there I've got Roldorn, 20 Death Riders, 2 Lehman Russes that still need to be magnetized, a Krieg Heavy Weapons team. I think I've got 20 Cadians and a Cadian command squad, and then 2 heavy bombast guns, and some Ratlings, and then 2 more units of Krieg engineers. And that's not even all of it. That's just what's sitting over there. So. Oh, I think I accidentally trimmed out an extra back. Well, that is totally fine, because I messed up a... Oh, wait, no. I think I messed up a front. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put all those over there. Just scooch them. I think I can turn away from this Hecatrix, probably. Because, yeah. Let me see. There's all those. There's all those. And then it's all the weapons. Okay. So we'll trim out all the heads. That sounds like what I do with armies. Piles of gray. Yeah. I'm very fortunate in the fact that a lot of my armies that I do have, I actually do have painted. Or at least I have a lot of them painted. I've been kind of fortunate in being able to actually pull that off. It's taken a lot of work, but obviously I still do have a fair amount of gray. My motivation ebbs and flows. It really depends on if I have like a project that I'm like really working towards. Like right now, with this, I've been watching, I saw a Drukari book got announced, and, was always stoked on them. I started the project a little while ago, and I actually had a good amount of motivation where I was painting, my Raiders, Ravagers. I was getting all of that. I was getting all of that done, and then at one point, I just kind of hit a brick wall. Um, and I probably could have kept going with it if we're being honest. I probably could have, pushed through and did something more with it. But at the time, I decided that I was just gonna put it down for now because I was really losing motivation like a ton. Um, so for me, it was more so about getting to that point where it got to the point where it was no longer something that I was super super passionate on, and so I just made the decision to just set it down for now and to come back around for it. So no regrets on that because sometimes it's good. It's good to step away from something if you're not really feeling passionate about it. Like sometimes like if you got like a tournament or something like that, I can understand just like slogging through and like trying to get as far along as you can. Um, but for me, especially with the Drukari, like I didn't have an event or anything that I was working on or working towards. Um, so I just kind of opted for, what? I'm like, we'll put this down for now, and we will come back when there's development. So just trim some of these out now while we're at it. I get that. Try to have 40K and AOS project on the go to help keep me motivated. Try and have one that is army, one that is a large piece. Absolutely, yeah. That's something that's been absolutely beneficial for me as well. Is I thoroughly enjoy playing both games. Some people are diehard AOS, some people are diehard 40K. For me, I still enjoy both so much that it's actually to me like some people were like, oh, it costs twice as much, and it's just like, well, I mean, yeah, a little bit, but also like it gives you a wide range of gameplay to experience, right? Like you get to have more fun with it, or like if you're feeling burnt out on like 40K, you can pop on over to AOS. If you're feeling burnt out on AOS, you can pop over to 40K, and I found that um, incredibly great just to have that as an option. Because some people will know me like, oh, they know you for like AOS or something like that, because that's what I've primarily covered sometimes. But that's one of the reasons why even now I've kind of shifted towards doing a variety of stuff on the channel, because I found that it's just a great way to keep my motivation up, and it's I don't know, there's always something to talk about, there's always something to engage with, but also um, it's just kind of what makes me happy. I definitely know for a fact that it's probably resulted in my channel growing a lot slower, because I think right now YouTube does really like more very focused channels, like, oh, if you're doing all this or all that, that's you'll see a little bit more. But for me, I personally just don't want to compromise that, because I do really like all the different games and I like talking about all of them, you know so that's always been fun. But uh, good example, I'm very excited. I will be going to the LVO again this year, but I will be helping to run the Vanguard Tactics First Timers Tournament. So I'll be helping them out, and I'm very excited about that. Um, get to share the passion with everybody, and we all get to, everybody gets to hang out. I think that'll be a great time. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, I'll do those later. Oh, really cool. Okay, so the first thing you saw of mine was the Cruel Boys. All right, very nice. And then you saw Man Titans. Appreciate you checking that out. It was a lot of fun going to the Titans. They're the some of the sweetest people. Absolutely love them. I know Adrian also loves his Cruel Boys and stuff like that, and he's been. I think unfortunately it's just been so many GW releases that they've had to like keep up on that. But yeah, I still absolutely love my Cruel Boys. I'm still planning on playing them a good bit. Um, but yeah, at least on like the hobby side, I've started to like pick up a few things, pick up a few other ones, and try a few more things out. But yeah, and I know right now Cruel Boys are apparently doing extremely well. I gotta keep up more on the lists that are doing well. Um, I know one of the lists I saw was like 7 units of monster killers, and I was just like, that's a bit much. Um, and I don't think I'll ever own that many monster killers. They are a really cool unit, and they are really cool models. Like I love those models before I even was really into Cruel Boys. They were such a cool design, and I absolutely loved their just that flavor and that look that they had. Um, that being said, I am not ever going to own or run 7 full units of monster killers. That's a bit excessive for me. Even if they're really good, it's still a little too much in my opinion. Also because I have multiple armies, so because I have multiple armies, I don't think it'll ever be quite worth the massive investment of having to buy all those kits and paint all of them. I did have somebody ask me recently on if I would paint him a unit or two of monster killers, and I told them I'd think about it. So they remind me of Lord of the Rings Moria orcs. That's true. They're yeah, because they're kind of like shifty and crafty and stuff like that. And I've come to appreciate them a bit more. I think what ended up happening for them specifically was I remember their announcement and people were like, because the teases they had were like a swamp and then red eyes like jutting out and kind of like cackling a little bit, and so naturally red eyes cackling whatever like little jittery noises, people were just like, the new Skaven, and then they're just like, trailer trash works, and everyone's like, what? Everyone just kind of hit like a like what's going on. There's a few people who were just like, oh dude, that's super cool, and like I was admittedly one of the people that was kind of like, I don't know, like I'll give it some time, but then having read up on them more, I really came to like them a lot. Just kind of like that shifty, crafty, kind of sneakier element to them. I think it does make them a lot more interesting. I would love to see them get an actual audiobook because to my knowledge, their main book that they show up in is Dominion, and even then they don't show up. They're um they're in the background, you hear them here and there, but for the most part they're not like front and center. It's kind of like Seraphon. Like, how does Seraphon, one of the coolest Age of Sigmar factions, dinosaurs riding other dinosaurs, like Cosmic Space Toad, how does this not have a book, like a Black Library book? There's no way. It would be it's blows my mind. Blows my mind. Morning, Chaos King plays. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for checking out. Just for fun, this is just me hanging out, building. Saul's working on some stuff there in chat, and it's an AMA. So yeah, feel free to ask me anything. Just having some fun building out some witches. Yeah, too much of AOS focuses on Stormcast Eternals and cities. I know a lot of. I'm stoked for it to do more city stuff, but yeah, like um, every time there's been a book. I mean, even I picked up the Usharan book because I was really stoked to read that, and then I ended up reading a breakdown of it somewhere that was saying that like it's mostly from the perspective of a Cities of Sigmar free guild like person who's kind of like Usharan, but like Usharan's in it a little bit, but not really. And I'm just like, it's such a miss when that happens because it's like I understand what they're trying to do, but just like we're reading it because the net title of the book is Ushron. It's kind of like the Angron book. The book is called Angron, and yet and not the Primarch series, but a different one. And Angron's barely in it at all. Like I think I think barely talks. Um, Thoughts on the Hellsmiths? I do really love the. I think the Hellsmiths are growing on me. I do have a box on pre-order. I am stoked to kind of dive into them. I'm always for a new flavor, especially of chaos. For some reason, chaos is one that hasn't really stuck with me in AOS. I started like Slaves of Darkness, and I was really excited to do Dark Oath because I loved the Dark Oath. It's such a cool design and cool new flavor. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball on them. But Hellsmiths, they seem kind of fun. They seem to just be Chaos Dwarves in Age of Sigmar, which I think is kind of the right way to go with them, honestly. Much much cleaner, much more straightforward, and plus people who love Chaos, the Chaos Dwarves, just want Chaos Dwarves in AOS. So they're getting Chaos Dwarves in AOS, and I think that's exactly what they're looking for. So, yes, I am stoked for the Helmsmiths. Um, are you stoked for the Helmsmiths? Nolan, I miss my BOC. Me too, buddy. Me too. I think we both missed our piece of chaos. Bless your soul, though, Nolan. You played them. You played them as they made their way out. Like you had some games with them still, and I respect you for that because I admittedly got too caught up in other projects and I never played them, and that's kind of what I get. So unfortunate indeed. That's the Kragnos book too. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Um, My only Chaos AOS is Blades of Corn. I did get really tempted with Blades of Corn. I've always been of the Chaos Gods. Here's a own question that I can answer myself without it being asked. Of the Chaos Gods, Corn is my favorite. Always been a Corn fan. And yeah, Blades of Corn has tempted me more than once on the AOS side. I think it's just weird to see how different they are from like World Eaters in 40K. It's actually at some point just kind of funny how different they are. Guess I kind of want the Chorfs. I wasn't really looking forward to them until I read the Spearhead rules. They look so fun. I agree. I think when I saw the announcement, I was like, I think I'm not like I wasn't like jumping like up and down like beyond excited. I was like, okay, like this could be kind of cool. And I looked at some of the models. I was like, okay, we're looking cooler. We're looking cooler. But the more I'm reading about in the lore, I'm getting more excited about it. I like the idea that you know, they're essentially just like extremely greedy, and it sounds like they're not even gonna be really in service to chaos. It's more hashut and all that. So I am actually liking the lore shifts for that too. But yeah, I'm curious to play the Spearhead. I actually appreciate that the box is just like the Spearhead models because for me, I think I'm going to be interested in growing an army of them, but at the same point, as we can see with my working on Drukari and everything right now, I have a few projects that have been on the back burner, and I kind of want to keep going with them, or I should just keep going with them versus getting distracted. So this way I can also play them and try them out and see how they feel. So that'll be great. Yeah, I got into corn now, but we'll be back if my BOC comes back out of the woods. Oh, absolutely, Nolan. If Beast of Chaos somehow comes back, I'll be stoked. I know that there's a rumor that they're going to be Nurgle, like Pestigores or something. So they'll be like Pestigores, Zangors, Slangors. I hope they bring back the OG goats, though. I hope they absolutely bring back the OG goats. I did a very unique for my Blaze of Corn. They're very ice themed. Actually, I kid you not, if you go into my Instagram and you dig down a little bit, I did do a commission for a buddy for a local community. His name's Jackson, very good Lumineth player. I did a lot of his Blades of Corn, and we did an ice theme. I found a couple cool little tricks for it too to really make them pop. So, but yeah, it does look good. It looks really, really good. Gaskin plays. A lot of my Votan buddies wanted chores for the last year just because dwarf. Absolutely. It wasn't until I was reading the rules that I got excited. I agree. Um, I'm also a big dwarf fan. Obviously, I've got Fire Slayers, I have KO, and I have Leagues of Votan. Um, so I'm in the same boat as that, and I was like, well, they could be like a cool thing, but I really wanted to see what they shaped out rules wise. Um, and yeah, having seen more of the rules now, like they do look really really fun. Um, yeah, so I'm stoked to give them a try and to see how they feel, and I'm hoping I can find a really cool, quick speed painting scheme for them since they'll be mostly metallic. So then hopefully it'll be easier to kind of get them onto the table, get them a try, and see how it turns out. With me already having a Horus Heresy passion project for my Sons of Horus, that's I don't know if I want to add another passion project to my list. That'll take up a lot more time, and I ain't getting any younger. Using no red on corn is a thing people don't expect. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think from I do have the world eaters. That being said, I did find a really good red scheme for my world eaters, so I will absolutely stick to the red for my world eaters. But yeah, I think Blades of Corn actually are a better faction to try different painting schemes with. But I mean, that's just it. Is they're one of those armies that's like, oh, did you do red? Yeah, they look great. Did you do blue? Yeah, they look great. Purple? Sure, why not? A little heretical, but yeah, always love the corn. I kind of want to get world eaters in Horus Heresy. Not super excited for how they play in 40k. That's fair. That's fair. I know there was a lot of people who were really upset with the new World Eaters rules for 40k. Um, I did make a video discussing it, and I think in the end it's still good because now they have a lot more control on the board. And I think they're a little bit more durable. And actually, the balance status like giving the exalted 8 bound +1 damage is gross. So they're absolutely going to be a menace. But I have looked at their heresy rules, and the heresy rules for world leaders is insane. They look really fun. That's kind of the fun part I think about heresy. That's kind of drawn me in is I never played older editions of Warhammer 40k, so it would essentially give me an opportunity to actually get to play that. I really like that. I might pick up cities next for AOS since I love my infantry armies in Fort. That's I have my cities army. I do love my cities army. That was another project that I like dove deep into. The wall I hit was the Free Guild Cavaliers. Oh my god! Like you think for a lot of metal it'd be pretty easy to like paint them up and everything. No, it actually kind of hurts a little bit, and I hit a brick wall with like 15 of them where I was just like I can't, I don't want to do it no more. I did the Fusiliers, I did the free helms and everything, and it just I was fine until I hit the cavalry wall. That one hurt. I'm just not super into an almost pure melee army in 40k. That's fair. That's very fair. I think if you don't mind me asking, Chaos King, uh, are you here in the U.S. or where are you based out of? Just out of curiosity, because I know melee armies have a much better time on UKTC terrain, and I know that that's used a bit more prominently in other places, um, and that's. I mean, I play a lot of melee armies, obviously, like Space Wolves and Black Templars and stuff like that, and I absolutely adore those armies to bits. But yeah, playing on certain terrain layouts is pretty rough. Um, kind of a fun little story from LVO. I was hanging out with the Vanguard Tactics guys and Jord, who obviously plays Blood Angels, absolutely loves his Blood Angels. Uh, day one, he was joking. He's just like, man, he's like, I've only got today to go 3-0. Otherwise, I'm in trouble because the layout for day two was so much more open that Frontline Gaming had posted, and he's like, I'm just gonna get shot off the board day two, and he did. He did. Oh, fantastic! Oh, good to see you again. I am so sorry. I don't know handles yet. I forget them all the time. So yeah, so perfect. Yeah, so that's completely fair. You know, playing all melee in 40K. The guns are fun. I mean, that's part of it, right? Is set into that. So that's completely fair. Okay, thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Again, keep the questions coming. Thoroughly enjoy it. I'm actually, I was actually planning on cutting this off sooner, but if we got a few more people, hey, we'll let it ride a little bit longer. While I try and get these darn witches built. Yeah, that also that 24-hour painting thing when I was working on the Cruel Boys, that was brutal. I did get a lot more done with them, and I think that's not still my that's actually not my best performing video. My best performing video is my Harder and Steamback airbrush review, which is great. No stress. That was why you actually. Oh, really? I inspired to help. Very nice. I'm glad that I helped. I try to help wherever I can. I'm glad that that's actually working. Yeah, Crew Boys are really fun to play, and they're really fun to paint up. I think there's a lot of fun schemes you can do with them. I did not think I was going to enjoy painting the giant turkeys. Turns out I actually did. I thoroughly enjoyed painting through Gobsprack and through the Killaboss on Corpse Ripcha. I'm having a strong. Um, yeah, there's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Oops, looks like I dipped for a hot second. Glad we're back. This 9 of them. Good lord. Yeah, like I said, keep the questions coming. Keep them rolling. Oh, good to see you again, sir. Yes, I do remember. I do remember. Glad you're having fun painting those, though. I also am stoked for OBR. I'm curious what they're going to get with their next book. Seems like we're getting bigger sweeping changes in Age of Sigmar, which I think is actually kind of cool at this point. Just because doing the same thing over and over again just kind of gets boring, and especially if it didn't change. For AOS, my favorite stuff I've done is my Gargants and my Beastclaw Raiders. I own 7 Stormhorns. That is awesome. We have another buddy who's in the local community here who does his Ogre Maw tribes, and he also loves his Stonehorns. That's actually what he brought for Adepticon. He's just like, screw it. I just want to run at things and just charge, and either they deal with me or they don't. Let's see. Yeah, what kinds of changes do you want to see for OBR? It's a good question. I do still kind of like the relentless discipline points. Like, it kind of makes sense for OBR, but I do want them to kind of shift their game. It's a tricky thing, and I know that I noticed that Age of Sigmar has really struggled with it recently, where it's struggled sometimes making like infantry or like some of the base units, like your main units that you would see in any sort of army, be viable on the table. A good example for me is Stormcast. Stormcast Eternals. You will never see Liberators, Vindictors, or if you do, it's like just because they filled out 100 points or something like that. I know that there's been some decent OBR lists that have had some more tech in it, but I would love to see a little bit more done there to make those a bit more viable, and I would love for them to get archers. You're telling me that Katakros is the greatest commander that has, rebelled against Nagash and all this stuff, and he didn't build a single friggin' bow? He just had catapults, and that's it? No. Shenanigans. Shenanigans and Balderdash. So, here's hoping that they do get something akin to that, and I hope that they encourage a little bit more list differentiation. I did understand that, for a lot of stuff, you got to points appropriate. Like, some people just want to play like the big stuff. but I would love to see just a little bit more balance for those. Um, I did fairly well with the 220 block Mortec for a while. That's awesome. Yeah, and I do know that Mortec can be very resistant. They can be like a really strong wall. Um, but yeah, I would love to see a little bit more out there. And yes, they absolutely need archers, in my humble opinion. Um, it is also a little sad that no one's bringing the uh, Bone Tithe Nexus, because I still love the Bone Tithe Nexus. I think it's a really cool piece. Um, I understand the thought process, where people are like, well, it's actually kind of detrimental to me to bring my terrain piece, but I would love to um, see a shift to kind of re-incentivize or like re-encourage those, because I think that's cool. I think it's something that makes it really, really, really exciting. I also made the dump trucks do well for a bit. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I would love to see that for OBR, and I'd love to see what people can come up with for them, because again, I do think that they are a very fun faction. I think they were a really cool creation when they came out, so would love to see more of them. Yeah, what else we got? Let them fly. AMA, anything. I mean, if you want, you can try and ask me for my social. I will not answer though. So, been warned. While I keep putting these tiny elf bodies together. I don't think I have like terribly large hands, but my goodness, these are small. They're very small. What is your last favorite death faction? Oh, I'm assuming this is least favorite. That's gonna go straight to Night Haunt, if I'm being honest. Um, Something, I don't know. Like, I never connected with Night Haunt. I appreciate their role in Age of Sigmar. Um, but yeah, just I've never been like super I think the best thing that Night Haunt do have for sure is that you can paint that army in like 30 seconds flat, which is awesome. I think that's really cool when you have a moment where you look at an army and you're like, wow, this is actually like incredibly viable for me to just be able to, you know, to build this in a heartbeat. So I think that's really cool. But for me, Night Hunt just never connected. And to be fair, I will say, Flesh Eater Courts didn't really connect with me either for a very long time, because I felt like they were always just too goofy. Like they're always like, we have Royal Knights, blah blah, blah. And it was like a Monty Python skit. Um, I think third edition's Battle Tome changed my mind on it. It brought a lot more of the horror aspects to it, which really sold the Flesh Eater Courts um, to me after the fact. So I feel like from a play perspective, they are the most not the same slash quasi. Yeah, I think that's a hard part for Death entirely, because obviously like all these factions have like a theme, right? Like they have their overarching function. You have your order, you have your chaos, yada. So you expect elements of it to bleed into the gameplay of certain ones. But yeah, for me, Death Death is probably arguably one of my favorites, but it's also probably one of the hardest ones to kind of balance, because it's Death. So your Death factions are always going to be kind of like, oh, I bring stuff back and yada yada. It's just depending on like how much. And I do think that the changes to Night Haunt were very welcome, because they were a bit much, if I'm being honest, from the beginning. Ooh, Ghoul. Okay, Ghoul Slayer has Flesh Eater Court's perspective. I will have to check that out, because I do actually have that book. Ow! I just hit my bloody wrist. I do have that book. I actually won it at an RTT I think I won Best Painted. It was like a smaller RTT, which is the reason I won Best Painted is because it was smaller. Um, but yeah, I do have Ghoul Slayer. I did start the Realm Slayer book as well for Gotrek, but I've been meaning to actually get around to reading Ghoul Slayer because that one actually, I bet that one would actually be very good. So thank you for the reference. I'll have to check. I'll have to pick that one up. Oh, I have it, but I'll have to actually, read it. I think it's available on audiobook. I'd have to check the narrator though. I always rule number one, whenever you're looking at audiobook, play the trailer. Don't just pick it because you can just listen to it. Like sometimes the narrator does make the biggest difference on those. So word to the wise on that one. I've had a few books where the narrator was really rough and it was a painful listening. Um, I've read all the Gotrek books at this point. Oh, okay. So, all right. You know what? I know this is the AMA. Ask me anything, but no, I'm gonna do the AUA. That's no AYA. I can't spell. Great. Now I'm illiterate. Saul, what is the best Gotrek book from the? I'm going to be specific here. I will say from the new Age of Sigmar stuff because I do have Realm Slayer, Ghoul Slayer. I've seen Blight Slayer and some of the other ones. I would love to hear which one you think is the best. Realm Slayer has been like I still haven't finished it, and it is a thick book. But I do appreciate that it had the Fire Slayers because I feel like the Fire Slayers are also one of those factions that's kind of gone ignored for a very long time. And I am also very stoked for their book, their new battle tome, because they absolutely need some work. Start attaching some bodies. Too much glue. Send that out. All right, let's see what you got. Okay. I think I enjoy Get Slayer the best. Okay. Sounds good. All right, Chaos Game Plays. Thanks for jumping in. Again, good to hear from you. I'm sure I'll bump into you again sometime soon. Or wait, no, I think you moved. I can't remember. Sorry. But yes, good seeing you. Have a good one. All right, so Get Slayer's the best. Which one's the worst out of your perspective? Or is there not like a worst one? Are they all good in their own right? I'm curious which one you think is the worst. Because I think I'm sure they all have their own merits, but I would be genuinely curious what you think, especially if you made it through all of them. I had to do the audiobook route because I didn't have the hard copy at that point, and I really needed something. And I was actually driving to Dragonfall, which is a charity GT. And it was like a 4 or 5 hour drive, and so I was like, well, I definitely need something to listen to in the meantime. So. Go. All right, let's see. All right, I enjoy them all. I think Blight Slayer might be the weakest, or Soul Slayer, but that is purely because something has been left open ended. I did them all in audiobook because I drive a lot. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I would make it through my audiobooks a lot more if I drove a lot, because I definitely finished. I finished Lion, Son of the Forest when I was driving. Specifically, I think I finished it when I was driving back from that same GT. I started Realm Slayer, and then during the middle of the drive, I was like, I kind of want to switch it, and so I switched it to Lions of the Forest. But okay, that's good to know. I'll definitely have to read Ghoul Slayer then, because that one's definitely up on my list. And yeah, I could see a bunch of stuff getting kind of open ended. I mean, it's cool that Gotrek is back in the Mortal Realms. Makes it very interesting, and I think his plot lines are fun. Um, and obviously, it's allowed them to make however many books on it. And he kind of has his new Felix, as so to speak, with what's her name, Malineth or whatever. Um, but yeah, I was curious. Thank you for that, because I'm actually going to look those up, because I really would like to get more into those. All right, there we go. We got bodies. Now we need to get heads and all the arms and everything. I enjoyed the Shadow of Cain book, which is more focused on Malineth. Okay, yeah, I think I remember seeing that one, and that is kind of interesting. Um, I'm curious to see what they do with Daughters of Cain, because I know right now they're kind of having their little schism where Morathi's still being a suckwad, and Crethusa is like rebelling against her. So I think that'll be very interesting to see what they do with that in AOS. I'm sure it's setting up Umberneth and all that jazz. So it'll be cool to see when that finally comes back around and we actually get a viable response to that. Let's see, which one should we do for this? We'll do you. God Eater's Son for me. Okay, God Eater's Son. Okay, I think I remember seeing that one too. The only Chaos one that I did was I did do. It's gonna bug me. Dark Oath. I did do Dark Oath. Um, the one involving Gunnar Brand. He was really cool. I really liked the one that the Gunnar Brand book, Dark Oath. Only thing that was kind of rough about it is there's a few spots where it slowed down just like a little too much. And also like this man has sliced his hand making so many oaths. So many oaths. Like at some point you just kind of have to wonder, just like, I know that you like the god's favor like heals you and stuff like that, but on some level, man, you gotta have some permanent nerve damage in there somewhere. All right, there we go. Up. We have to hold this. Okay, but God Eater Son is for Blades of Corn. Okay, that might pull me into that book. That might be possible. Because that would be, I could always go for something like that. And actually, you know what? We're going to stack you up right over here so you don't fall. Hold that up. There we go. It's old, but the red feast was fun for me. But yes, definitely shows its age. I mean, I know a lot of people who still swear by the OG Gotrek and Felix books. Like those are definitively their favorite. So that's understandable. And yeah, there's a couple older books. Actually, the books that I am genuinely missing for sure are. I'm surprised there isn't more Drukari books, if I'm being honest. You'd think these characters that are just truly evil, truly brutal, you think we'd have some more going on with them in terms of, being able to tell some really cool stories with them, but you just don't see them. Drives me insane. Especially because, again, like I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier in the live stream, the Rogue Trader game has the Drukari as like a primary antagonist, and every appearance of them is so cool. I love seeing the Kabalites and like the Kabalite warriors and like the witches and the homunculi. Like all of them are just so cool. I would love to see more of them, but that's just it. They're only in a couple things, and c'est la vie. I still have to read the Lilith book. Um, I would love to. I would love. I gotta read that one, and especially because, from what I understand, Mike Brooks did a really good job because he opens up the book saying like Lilith is not a hero, like she's not a good character, like she's not a good person or a good character. She's Lilith Hesperax, like she's got her story, and I appreciate that. I appreciate when they know that. Oh, okay. It's about the rise of Korgus Cool and his fall to chaos and how Korn came into the realm of action. Okay, see, now if I knew that, I'd pick that book up a while ago. Really? So it's about Korgus? All right, well, I'm sold. Done. I'll add that to my Audible right now. I think I've still got like 4 or 5 credits just chilling in my backlog. I will absolutely add that. You kidding me? If it's the rise of Korgus, I think Korgus Cool is one of those people who just like you haven't seen much or anything, or like because he's like the main antagonist, right, for an eternity. So that makes sense. All right, sold. It's only paperback though. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I'd still read it, especially if it's about that. That's actually really cool though. And that's the thing that I feel like that's a plot point that I can appreciate, right? When you get the explanation of how someone got to where they are as a character, especially for like a villainous character or like an evil character, like that really rounds out the the interaction. It really rounds out the experience. You empathize with the character. Like good case study. Aaron Dembski Bowden. First of all, one of just the better Black Library writers. Period. But what he did with the Night Lords will forever live in Black Library history because he did such a good job writing that villainous faction and creating characters that were still relatable and interesting, and like they weren't good people, like they weren't like good guys, but they were so well written that you could understand where they came from, and that just made that book, that trilogy of books, just immaculate from front to back. I genuinely don't think the Night Lords would be as popular as they are um, without Aaron Dembski Bowden's work on those books, for sure, for sure. I would love a Word Bearers esque faction in Age of Sigmar. You know, yes, I could see it. I could actually see the inverse of it too. I could see, like the evil version of that. But I could also see like the Order Age of Sigmar version of it, like, or not the Age of Sigmar, the Cities of Sigmar variation, because I could see, the Flagellants and those that follow Pontifex Sinistra and like all the shenanigans that went down at, was it Emberguard, when she founded that one, like with the Night Haunt, like accidentally ending up on top of a tomb, and then the Red Keep shows up, and Vordry and Lauka Vi start squaring off because they hate each other. Like, I could see Pontifex Sinistra kind of created. Um, I could see Pontifex Sinistra kind of creating like an overly zealous subfaction of humans um, in the followers of Sigmar, and I could see it. I could see it being kind of coolly written, where it's like they they follow Sigmar, but like at some point they turn against Sigmar because they're like, oh, he doesn't realize that he's being corrupted or whatever, he's doing the wrong thing, but we'll help him figure it out, kind of thing. ADB created my favorite Space Marine chapter, the Emperor's Spears. I do remember seeing them. And yeah, I remember, yeah, their lore is pretty cool. I didn't know he created them, though. That's actually really cool. It's actually really cool. And that is also kind of one of the fun things about, the one of the few times where, there's a cool thing to do with Space Marines is when you have like an author who like does a good job of like making a chapter massive. Like the Carcharodons, just kind of like space sharks just popping out of, the bad dab stuff, just like popping up out of nowhere and just being like, what up, munch munch, and just a bunch of, like, I especially was just like Polynesian space sharks. I'm like, sold. You don't gotta say nothing else. I am in. Witch, hold your arm up. That is his personal chapter there in the book Spirit of the Emperor. Oh, that's his personal chapter. Okay. That's pretty dope. I do love me some ADB, so that's his personal chapter. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool that he actually gets that. Yeah, ADB is so cool. He's done such a good job for 40K and just for the Black Library in general. So many good books. Between him and Dan Abnett, you know, we're all holding on. Oh, set that up. Getting close to finish building these witches. Just a couple more arms and heads. We're there. All right, what do we got? Any other questions for me? Book recommendations, what have you? This has been fun, guys. I really appreciate this. I really appreciate you guys hopping on and hanging out with me and participating. It's a lot of fun. He and the narrator is why I picked up Hell's Reach on Audible. Yeah. Hell's Reach is so good on Audible. It really is. It's so well done. Such a well done one. I think Hell's Reach is also what sold a lot of people on Black Templars. Like, some people might have liked them like beforehand or something like that, but I am more than willing to bet that the Hell's Reach story alone sold so many people on Black Templars. No doubt. No doubt in my mind. That's what I can be shooting. I think it's the same narrator for all of the Gotrek Fantasy and AOS. I could... Is it Tony Klebel? I don't know. I'll have to look after. But, yeah. I mean, that goes without saying, man. Like, the narrator really does make the biggest difference for your Audible experience. Because if you get, like, the right narrator, it's so immersive. Like, you really enjoy... Jeremy Klebel. Keeble. Thank you. Sorry, not Klebel. Keeble. Yes, that's the one. Thank you. Yeah, he's so good. So good. I will say the one that I have been listening to, or that I have also listened to with the Drecky Flint novels, has also been really good. I can't remember the name of him, but he does a really good job reading those. Especially because, like, one of the details that I like in those books is sometimes the Caradron will say something not dwarvish, but, you know, like, they'll say a phrase, and then the book stops, and it'll be like, it'll say repeat the phrase, and it'll be like Kazalid, Caradrid, or whatever, because, like, Kazalid, if I recall, is like the entirety of dwarf language, or like the wider dwarf language, and then Caradrid is the Caradron specific version of the language, or like specific Caradron specific one. And then it will, like, say the definition of it. It's really good, and he does a lot of really good dwarf voice lines. Like, did a really good job, like, making each character feel like pretty distinct, and like Drecky's like pacing and intonations and stuff like that. So that's another recommendation if anyone enjoys a little KO in their life. I've been thoroughly enjoying the Drecky Flint books. Let's move that out. Here we go. 2 more arms right there. Again, any questions, throw them in. Love to hear them, especially before I wrap up here in a little bit, because it's getting to be about 4:15. Number one, I still got to eat something, which is very important, and also number two, I need to finish. I need to start filming my next video. Both very important steps. This is a weird pose, but that's totally fine. They're witches. I'm sure it makes sense if I don't think about it. Watchers of the Throne Watchers of the Throne series by Chris White are two great books. Each chapter is told by one of three persons with a different voice. Ooh, okay. Watchers of the... I'll write that down. I'll write that down here shortly. Because, yeah, Watchers of the Throne. Okay. I'll have to check that, because that sounds very interesting as well. That actually sounds like that's got some nice twists and turns to it. And it's from the viewpoint of Custody, Sister of Silence, and the Chancellor for High Lords of Terra. Ooh, okay. Yeah, that could be good. I was about to say, I thought that was a Custodes one, but I wasn't sure. I'll definitely have to check that one, because that also sounds really dope. All right, let's start getting some heads glued on here. Get some heads glued on, and then we'll probably call it a day. So again, last call. Get some questions in. Anything you got? Which one do we... No, we don't want to done that one. We'll make it... There we go. If anyone's going to do the Knuckle Dusters, it's going to be the Drukhari with the two pigtails. For sure. There we go. What style of guard army do you have? I'm building towards mechanized guard. Great question. Kind of an all-arounder. Honestly, though, the detachment that I would say that I'm building more closely to is Siege Regiment Detachment. I really love, again, I'm a big fan of the Krieg. I've read and finished all the Krieg books, and they're all fantastic. Siege of Rax is definitely really good. Probably my favorite. But, because I've got two Rogaldorns that can also double as Rogaldorn commanders. And then two Leman Russes, 20 Death Riders, and I've got 20 Krieg Guardsmen, but I technically own 40. I just haven't built the other 20. But I really like the Siege Regiment. I think that's really fun, and I actually made a list, and I call it Bonesaw is Ready, and it involves two artillery teams, two of the Krieg artillery teams, the bombast guns too, and two basilisks. And the idea would be to try and aim for the -2 movement and do it twice. Do it with the Siege Regiment rule, and then to do it with the basilisk. I thought it would be kind of a fun little counter to Death Guard, because then they would literally be going nowhere. They'd be like -4 to their movement. I think it sounded really funny in my head. I have one basilisk, so I don't quite have enough basilisks yet to run it. But the main way I am building my guard right now has been Krieg base with the Siege Detachment. I love the Siege Detachment. I think it's really cool. But yeah, mechanized guard is also really strong. Like, just seeing that all the vehicles you can fit in a list, whew, oofta, as we would say. That is an uphill battle for sure. All right, I got just these last couple heads, and we are done. You know, you can be the one who's aiming down your sights. Which lady? Nope, gotta clean that up. Oop, there we go. There we go. All right, I got 2 more heads. Let's see if we can get another 2 questions. Let's do it. I believe. Two more questions, and we will call it there, so I can start filming and getting ready for the next video. Hey man, are you going to play Helmsmiths of Hashut? Yes. Yeah, so far I am. I do have a box on pre-order. Um, I am kind of excited to dive into them. We've talked about it a little bit earlier, where the lore has that, and the lore and the rules have really made them very exciting. The only thing that I found janky about them, and I actually questioned it before the pre-order because I know that the book had kind of leaked ahead of time, which I'm not a fan of leaks myself, but we'll leave that aside. Um, the fact that the Infernal cohort is hits on 3s, wounds on 4s, because most people might remember from the beginning of 4th edition, they talked about giving kind of racial stats to armies. So, humans are 4s, 4s, elves are 3s, 4s, because they're more accurate, but they are harder to wound. And dwarves are 4s, 3s, because they're less accurate, but they hit harder. So it was weird to see the Helmsmith's Infernal cohort be 3s, 4s. I don't know if they just kind of forgot about that or if they just kind of nixed it now, but yeah, like and also to your point, infantry is so soft. I would agree. Like the fact that they're chaos dwarves and they're 1 wound chaos dwarves feels a little weird. I feel like even if you're talking about like balancing for them, still just make them 2 wounds and then just increase their points cost. I think people would be completely fine with that because it's also weird to just, I know that if I recall, Arcanaut Company are also 1 wound, but again, for dwarves to be, um, 1 wound just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right with me. It feels kind of goofy. Um, I prefer to play with more elite dwarves. I agree. I think that would be kind of fun. It's something that I'm hopeful for the new Fire Slayers book. I really hope we get some cool tools in there for sure. But I'm looking forward to a little bit of a rework. I still like the runes for the Fire Slayers specifically, but they definitely need some changes in their data scrolls because other than Body Press or the current Magma Droth, anything like full Magma Droth list, I feel like Fire Slayer's in a really rough spot right now, a little bit. And I would love to see them get a little bit more durability just to kind of help them out a little bit. I know they're half naked berserkers that are running at you, but like find a way to give them something to like steer into. I think that would be a lot better. And yeah, no native rend. Yeah, that's also weird. There's a few times in AOS when I've looked at some of the sheets where I think to myself like, really, no rend at all. Like there's like a big old spear or something, and it's just like no rend. Like, but why? Like that's Pierce. It's supposed to do its thing. Um, but yeah, Blades of Corn is my main, but I'm also curious to play Fire Slayers. No, I didn't know he had Fire Slayers. But yeah, I'm also very excited to play Fire Slayers. I think Jackson is excited to also get new Fire Slayers. So hopefully we start seeing some teases soon. But I don't know how quickly. But either way, I am excited for the new Helmsmiths of Hashut. I'm actually this is gonna sound okay. This is gonna sound goofy, but I'm also just generally excited to read the book, right? Like I love reading the books. I'm a huge fan of them. I keep all my old books because sometimes they have details in there that later books don't have. And so like some painting stuff or some lore bits, I love keeping them. So I'm actually ironically I feel like when I get the Hellsmiths, I'm going to just crack it open and start reading the book immediately and then I'll probably get to the models a little bit later. That being said, I probably should try and do a box to board challenge of some kind to try and get them out, because if that's something you guys would be interested in, if that's something that I think would do well for the channel, I should probably try that because there's also not a ton of models, and from what I can see from the sprues, they're actually pretty quick to build, which is really good because I've personally enjoyed building less recently, which is not great. But yeah, I've got some ideas that I'm thinking in the scheme. I'm probably going to lean into more of that purplish, bronzish scheme, but I still want to try some stuff out. I still want to try some stuff out. They only get red against infantry or against cav. Yeah, are the charges? Yeah, how are they? How are they super hard dwarves that live in the worst place ever? But yeah, and they hit. I agree. Yeah, Last Stand. I completely agree. It is really weird to have that um, for them. It just, yeah, it seems very undwarvish. I don't know if their argument would be because they're taking in the influence of chaos, it's making them weaker or something, but it still doesn't make sense, right? Because haven't they talked about like the chaotic influence has actually resulted in some of them turning into stone? Like stones stone's durable. It's pretty durable. So I don't know. But also I also know that the Chaos Dwarves are going to absolutely steamroll things with the Bull Centaurs. The Bull Centaurs look gross. They look like they're going to hurt a lot, and anyone who's going to run that +2 movement detachment is literally just going to sprint, or the formation is going to literally just sprint across the board, crash into you, smack the crap out of you, and just say, haha. Like, so, it'll be interesting. Um, I play Fires to hope some kind of King in Super Magmadroth or some elite mini Magmadroth Cav. Yeah. See, absolutely. That's if you gave Fire Slayers a slightly more elite foot guard, that would be awesome. Or I think the tiny Magmadroth Cavalry. If you just did that, Fire Slayers would be in a much better spot. That would add a little bit of speed, not too much, a little bit of durability. Could be a nice shock unit. I think there's some good stuff there. I think there should absolutely be some good stuff. But I think Helmsmiths are absolutely still going to make a great play, especially since I believe the Infernal Cohort has ways to get you more Desolation points, if I recall. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head because I don't have the book, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I'm not on the G-Dubs list. I hope to one day be, which would be awesome. But um, yeah, the book should be called Centaurs of Hashut. It's leaning that way, yeah, just a wee bit. But I think that's one of the reasons why I've been slowing down on AOS just a little bit. Is it feels like, and I think we talked about this a little bit earlier. Like it feels like you're not building like a balanced force per se. There's usually just monster spam or cavalry spam and like there's a freedom to it. You know, you can build whatever list you really want to. There's like some light restriction, but for the most part, um, that's the part that I haven't been enjoying. I do kind of like the aspect of 40k, where right now 40k is not like spam. There are a lot of vehicles. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of vehicles and a lot of anti-vehicle stuff in there, but you're much more rewarded for building a more rounded list because you need stuff to do the objective cards. You need stuff to kill stuff. You need stuff to hold objectives for you. Like there's a bit more flexibility with all of it. And right now, at least where AOS is sitting, um, it feels like it's not. It feels like you're pushed into a certain direction, and there's some factions that don't even really have the big beefy thing. You know, I even look at kind of like Cruel Boys. Like Cruel Boys are in a really good spot, and I think a lot of it has to do with their dirty tricks, and I know it has to do with the Swamp Boss Scumdrek Scourge of Garan guy. You know, the betting chips is particularly good, but yeah, like even their big birds, you can drop a Cruel Boys big bird in like a heartbeat without batting an eye. If you get stuck in like the worst spot, you're doomed. You're done for. You just at that point, you know, cross your fingers, cross your toes, and hope your opponent rolls really badly. Um, Spam for the spam god. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Obviously, there's some factions that are built that way, like Gargants. I totally understand Gargants players because sometimes you just want to play something big and you just want to run it at something and just call it a day. So I totally get that, and I hope we've still got a lot of time left with AOS Fourth Edition. I'm still excited. I'm still, you know, obviously stoked for the Hellsmiths. It's really cool to have a new faction. Um, I hope they get more fleshed out sooner rather than later, because the gits. So we'll go off on this tangent, and then I think we'll call it because my back's getting sweaty. But when the Gits box got announced, the Gitmon box, I was actually really excited because it was rounding out and adding more units to a faction that didn't have a ton. So I thought, okay, like I Net Deepkin, like your Fire Slayers. These are your factions that only have a few. Your OBR, like you only have a limited set of stuff as opposed to Stormcast, which is just, and like even Cities of Sigmar has like a pretty long list of stuff. So there's some factions that just genuinely have a lot of war scrolls and a lot of stuff going on for them. So I was like, oh cool, like we're gonna see those more fleshed out. And I feel like the Igneth really didn't flesh anything out. It gave us 2 new foot heroes, another foot hero, well, 1 foot hero in 2 different versions, Mathala, and then the Incarnate. The Incarnate is really cool. I like it, but I was really hoping for a new unit somewhere rather than just a new hero. Um, I'm hoping the Fire Slayers get a little bit more. I'm hoping OBR gets a little bit more. And for Hellsmiths, I hope in the future, when it comes to a Wave 2, it is a bit more than just what they have. Especially because I saw 37 War Scrolls and I got really excited, but then I realized that they took the loadouts and split them up. And that to me felt a little lazy. Because that's just like, oh, it's look, 2 war scrolls. It's like, no, it's 1 war scroll in a box that you're making into 2. So kind of stuff like that. What do you got? I hope we do something like the Scourge next season. While there's some better than others, it was cool addition tools to use. I completely agree. I love the Scourge of Garan updates. I thought they were really great, and also it allowed them to address gaps in the army. Like the fact that you had Iridan the Witness, one of the coolest models, the one that obviously won Golden Demon, and their rules were just bad. Like he was just bad. You wouldn't use Iridan. And then the Scourge of Garan, like dope, hits harder, does cooler abilities, quick fix. Like it did a good job finding these units and these rules in each faction and actually like fleshing them out more, giving them more play, giving them a bit more validity. So I agree. I hope they do a Scourge for next season. I think that'd be a really good idea. What I need is new good lore. It feels so quiet since the Broken Realms. That was good lore. I agree. James. Hey, Miles. What's up? So I have been enjoying last night. I have been enjoying some of the new lore. I actually did really like the Mad King Rises, Dawnbringers. I actually had a lot of fun reading those books. I thought they did a really good job fleshing out Usharon and all that stuff. Obviously, that was like an end of tale kind of story kind of thing. You know, same thing that they did with the Arcs of Omen in 40K. But I agree. We have plot holes right now that are sitting wide open. Like Corgus Cool killed a Stormcast, killed was it Gabriel Sherhart, if I recall correctly? Like perma killed him and ascended to like some sort of demonhood, but we had the Blades of Corn book and we don't have a demon in Corgus Cool, and we don't know what happened to him, we don't know where he is. We had the big clash between Kragnos and Karazai and Krondis, but we don't actually know how that ends. We just hear that Croak and those 3 went off to battle against him, and that was it. And like Gobsprack's doing stuff with Kragnos. It's really, I feel like we're sitting in a weird spot. The one thing I will give them in terms of lore is I think they are doing a better job of making it feel more grimdark. They're bringing the grimdark kind of back to Age of Sigmar, which is great. It still sucks to live in the Age of Sigmar. You know, if you live in Akshi, you're probably choking down ash and working in an industrial plant. So you take up the coin, Malleus, to go on these Dawnbringer Crusades to get out, and then you get murderized by Cruel Boys, Ghosts, undead armies, Skaven. Like, life's terrible, and I think they've done a good job of that. But I agree. I think that we need to have a good move in the lore direction. So, all right. Oh, Last Stand, that's it. Yeah, I have to go. Good content. Keep it up. Hey, Last Stand, massively appreciate you. Thank you for hopping into the stream, and thank you so much for supporting me. I massively, massively, massively appreciate it. So, you have a good one. Take it easy. All right, let's do it. One last call for questions. I'll give you 5 here. Let's see what you got, and then I've got to go film my next video. Good news is we did finish my 10 block of witches, so we got them all built. We've got the succubus all finished and built, so I've got to move on to the combat patrol, which is definitely going to take a bit longer, and then of course the leader, the Hackatrix, for the witches. So we got through those 2, which is good. The next one's going to be a little trickier, but one last round of questions. Let's see what you got. Yeah. Just in time for the DE book links. Oh, Dark Elder. Yeah, the Drukari ones. Um, I think there's still some stuff in there. It does make me excited, and that's the reason why I'm building. Is I would love to play my Drukari. I put a pause on them for a super long time, so it's actually, yeah, just building these up to actually like maybe try and get them on the table at some point. Um, so here's hoping, but I was definitely a little sad to see that the Core of the Archon and the Beastmaster group and the Grotesques didn't come back. But here's the thing: I'm willing to. Well, first of all, I didn't anticipate the Beast Flare come back or the Beast Master Pack to come back, and I didn't anticipate the Core of the Archon because they are cool models. But I could see the rules being just like a little too complicated for them, and I feel like it would really slow up the rate of play and stuff like that. I mean, unless you had Scary, who's got his stuff together and plays really well. Um, so I didn't anticipate them, but Grotesques not getting a new model was very interesting. I do like the lady. I love Lady Malaise or Malice, or whatever, however you want to pronounce it. I'm assuming it's Malice is how it's supposed to be, or Malice or something. She's really cool. The new Archon looks really cool. But yeah, they were also fine cast in resin. But I thought that maybe they were gonna get a plastic kit, at least the Grotesques, because you could probably just take Cryptors, like take that rough sculpt and make it a little more Drukari-esque, and it would probably pop out just fine, you know. Um, but yeah, I've calculated what I have and how many points it is, and I'm about 1,500 points. So I could probably play a couple 1K games and get a feel for it all, and get some pain tokens. But yeah, I also got to get some paint engines. I got to get some Talos and some Chronos, and it would be awesome if I found some that were already pre-built, so I didn't have to deal with it. But I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. So, all right. Last round of questions. Here, I'm going to scoot you guys back. Hopefully you guys don't fall. Backing up. There we go. All right. One last set of questions, and then we'll call it day there, so I can go film what I actually have to have out for Friday. Oh, wrong tube. It'll be a nice little mini product review, so it'll be kind of fun. But yeah, let me have it. One last question. I'll take one. We'll do one more. We'll do one more, and we'll call it. Which I know I said 42 minutes ago, but hey, we've been having fun, and I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And I was I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling kind of down bad today. Had kind of a rough past couple days, and was really lacking in motivation, and so I was just gonna build, and I was like, let's see if I can go live. And I was gonna do it on Instagram, but it turns out Instagram, you need 1,000 followers, which I did not know, and so I only have 930, something like that. So I was more than happy to hop on here. But yeah, let's do one more, and we'll call it a day. Okay. Oh God. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. This will be for sure interesting to get all these ladies painted. Get those out. All right. All right, I'm going to take silence as golden, assuming we got no more questions. So, again, thank you all for hopping in, for the people who did come and visit. I don't know if this saves for later. I think it might. If it does, hey, appreciate it. Yeah, I gotta go film. But again, massive thank you to all of you who did pop in, even just for a few minutes, just to say hi or to ask a question or whatever. Massive shout out to all of you. Again, massively appreciate it. But until next time, I've been Tattooed Tabletop. Go paint something. Let's figure out if I know how to shut this thing off. Oh, nope, that would have been... I don't know. There you go.